So I just finished watching the very first episode of the new series 24 Legacy. Now, while it technically is a new series, it's actually a continuation of the old 24 series. In this world, Jack Bauer, played by Kiefer Sutherland, does exist. He's just not on this show. It has a new lead character, but even in this first episode, we had some references back to the original series, and in future episodes, some characters will be transferring over to this show. So, what's the premise? What's the idea of the new show and the new season? In it, our lead character, I do not know his name because I've only seen this one episode, is a former Army Ranger who has returned home. It's about 6 months after a major operation where him and his guys took out some terrorist. And in the episode, kind of right from the get-go, that guy's terrorist organization is tracking him and his team down, not just out for revenge, but looking for something in particular, and that's the setup for our new season. Along the same way, a lady that used to run CTU, her husband is running for president. He's played by Jimmy Smits. I don't remember her name. And somewhere also in the mix, we've got a high school plot about a student that suspects one of his fellow students of being a terrorist. So, all in all, this is very true to the original 24 series. There's some superficial changes. Obviously, we have a new lead character. It's in a new setting, new time frame, but it's very similar in structure, style. They didn't try and overhaul it. They didn't try to be overly creative and reinvent 24. This is true to the original series, the original kind of beep, beep, clock at different points in time. Same fun. Very true to it, which I very much appreciate. So, to kind of get into my review of this, my thought, my reaction, the series 24 is probably one of my top 5 favorite TV shows of all time. Absolutely love it. I think it's a brilliant concept for a TV show. So the big fear going into this series is, does it work without Kiefer Sutherland's Jack Bauer? That's the big question. And based off this one episode, I'm not really sure. We had, was it kind of 9.5 seasons in a movie with Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer? We got a lot more time with him. And so it's difficult to separate the concept of 24 from the lead character. And we've just gotten to know this new guy, so haven't been able to really connect with him. So with all that said, I've got a number of different thoughts. Overall, I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it enough. I'm not in any way kind of detracted from wanting to watch it more, but I also wasn't like, that was awesome. Yeah, they did it. They reinvented it. No, it was like, okay, that was good enough. There's some potential here, but it does feel a little bit like stuff we've seen before, but there's some newness. So let me kind of break down some of my thoughts on it. Right off the bat, I like the concept of the plot of the season, as set up in the first episode, of these ex-former Army Rangers who are being hunted down by a terrorist group for reasons tied to other things. That works really nicely. That's a different sort of deal. It's not right out of the gate there's a bomb or an assassination. No, there's something that they're trying to track down. That ties in nicely and sets things up in a new way that we have not seen before in a previous season. So I really like that element to the story. Along the same lines, just like I said, true to the original series. They didn't try and reinvent the wheel. They didn't try and do anything radically different. I liked that about that. Right off the bat, they got a great cast, or it's like 50% great cast, people you've seen before. Not necessarily like A-listers, but people that just have a solid track record. Our lead guy was in Straight Outta Compton. I actually haven't seen it, so I can't say if he's a great actor or not. But he has a track record of being in great things, or people that other people thought was great. Jimmy Smits, obviously great actor, done some great work in many different fields. He's great at the politician type role, which he's playing in this. There's the lead lady in it who was on Homeland for a season, or last season. One of the other CTU guys was the bad Flash on season 2 of The Flash last year. So there's a lot of people in here that have done stuff that I'm familiar with. Some of the other people don't quite know who they are, but likable enough cast. But it's to say it's very 24-ish, so you're seeing 24-ish type scenarios. Not the best version of them, not the worst version of them, but good enough thus far. Definitely you're feeling the lack of those characters that we loved from the original. So you don't have anyone that immediately right out of the gate is a character that you love. There's just a lot of people that you're like, you're good enough, you're likable enough, but like our lead guy doesn't kind of endear us to him thus far in just this one episode we've had. There's nothing really of that nature that really draws you in. And some other stuff, there's some action sequences that, there's one towards the end that's actually pretty good, pretty clever in what they do with it. Not in a way though that, it felt like they were trying to do some Jack Bauer type stuff, so you get kind of like those brutal Jack Bauer kills. except without maybe the creativity or the spunk to it, the spark to it that Jack Bauer had. So it felt like they were trying to do it a little bit different. So this guy did a little bit more stylized and had a thing rolling and was hiding behind it and shooting guys in a cloud of dust. But not quite as brutal and just badassery that you get from Jack Bauer. I didn't feel. So with all that said, some of the bad things, real quick to run down some of the ones that came to my mind. There's a reference to Edgar Stiles, a character that was in seasons 3 and 4 of the original series, and it felt really forced, and it seemed like a little bit of a deep cut. Like, I've rewatched season 4 and 5 of 24, 15 times. I mean, I've watched 24 way too many times. And so I know who you're talking about. My wife has been forced to watch it repeatedly because she's married to me, but it seemed a bit of a deep cut, and oddly, like, he was one of the best guys that was ever an analyst for CTU, and I knew him. I was like, what? Why are we cramming this in here just to, like, you don't want to say the name Jack Bauer because it's too on the nose. You don't want to say David Palmer because it's too on the nose, so you go with Edgar Stiles. Like, it seems a bit odd to go in that direction. You have the most cliche 24 line that you can have where someone's like, you're the only one I can trust. I'm the only one I can trust. Just that stereotype 24 trope, and it's just the trailer-ready version of the line where you go, once again, we're saying that line. You get a high school plot line about high schoolers that, for some reason, seasons of 24 seem to like to put high schoolers and college students in there, and they're always the weakest plot lines where something's going on where you're watching it being like, I think that this student at the school, I think she's a terrorist. Like, I read these texts and they were terrorists, and so I was talking to her about it, but, I don't want her to be mad at me. Wait, you think someone at your school's a terrorist and they're plotting to kill people and you're nervous that they're not going to like you? What? I mean, in every season 4, it was like Farouk, I think was his name. It was like this bizarre story where he was like a terrorist kid who was doing terrorist type things and he had a girlfriend. I mean, we're doing a little bit more of that type of stuff. A little bit odd. There's a scene in it where someone kidnapped and held at gunpoint and then finds out that the terrorists are about to kill them. And the line is like, I thought you weren't gonna hurt us. And then the terrorist raised up his gun to the face. Just stands there. No reaction to, you're about to die and this guy just brutally murdered your family. Right in the face. And it was really oddly staged. It was like they only got one take of it, did a bad take, and they're like, all right, let's move on. So that kind of frustrated me. And last thing I want to talk about real quick, and moving into where I get a little bit frustrated by most modern television and movies. So 24, the premise of it, the way most seasons normally work, pretty politically incorrect in the year 2016. There's Muslim terrorists that the army's trying to stop, CTU's trying to stop. It's a worldview where torture works. And so if you go back and watch old seasons of 24 in the post 9/11 world, it made total sense. We want to go get those bad guys and torture people. And, that's why the show's a big hit, probably because it's like the perfect show for that moment in American history. And so then the show comes out now. Very controversial to have those same kind of tropes in here where people getting tortured, blood everywhere, shoot them in the face, that's terrorists, someone's planning a shooting at a school. And so then as you're watching the show, and maybe this is just me being overly sensitive to political correctness and how annoying culture can be these days, but like you look through the cast of the show, how across the board diverse it is as you go to like different places. And so we've now got the Indian character, and then the black lead character, and then the Latino character, and then we've got the Czech immigrant character. And it just felt a little bit like they were trying to intentionally show, no, we're not just this right-leaning show with that's politically incorrect, it's pro-torture. No, we're not like that. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I doubt it. They had some quotas that they wanted to intentionally be like diverse in a way that just really sticks out. Like where I live, it can be a pretty diverse community, and you don't go to any one place and see such a diverse cast of group of people. And I'm in an incredibly diverse city. And so when you see it in a TV show, it kind of pops a little bit, or in a movie where it's like, what? Everyone just fits perfectly into like a diversity checklist. So anyway, I get frustrated when it feels like they're checking off things just to make people happy like that. Any other final thoughts? Yeah, overall, definitely going to check it out tomorrow. Probably put out another video, and maybe tomorrow's episode will undo some of this episode. The nature of the show 24, because it's in real time and you have to set up plot lines. In previous seasons, they would do a 2-hour opener, followed by, then they'd have one the next day, and they'd do the first 4 hours of it over the span of 2 days. And because they're setting up so many plot lines, so much stuff, and I could see where this one, you don't get quite what you need to in any of these characters endure themselves to you because you haven't seen enough of them. I mean, this is a show designed to be binge-watched, and that's how I watched the first 5 seasons. I was a late adopter to the show, and so then when I did finally start watching it, I watched the first 5 seasons in 2 weeks or something like that. And you forget, if you rewatch some of the stuff, that some of the things that are like the defining first things that made me love David Palmer don't happen until like the 3rd episode. So the things that define it, make him so likable, he's not really all that likable in episode 1 if you just watch it in and of itself. So all of that to say, I'm fully checked in. It didn't do anything that annoyed me, the diversity thing caught my attention. I won't say it necessarily detracted. It caught my attention, though. So, anyway, all that to say, if you're a fan of 24, I do recommend you check out this new season. This review reaction went a little bit longer, but that's because I'm just straight stream of consciousness telling you my thoughts on it. Love to have a conversation with you. If you're a fan of 24, or if you're new to watching 24, maybe this is the first season of 24 you've ever watched. I don't want to just talk about 24. I want to talk about 24 with you. So join me in the comment section. Tell me what you thought about it. Does it live up to the original series? If it's new, did you enjoy it? And am I crazy in being like, this is an awfully diverse palette of people we've got here? Is that just me being overly trying to stir controversy, or did you notice it too? Tell me what you think in the comment section below, because I want to talk about the show very much so with someone else, because I'll drive my wife crazy if I try to talk to her about it, because she can't talk this much 24. So join me down there. If you're new to my channel, you never click that subscribe button, please consider clicking that subscribe button. During the work week, I have a daily movie news roundup show that I do, as well as 3 or 4 movie reviews a week, and then on Sundays, I do a live show, except today because of the Super Bowl, so I skipped this week and also did a ton of other videos. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this rambly video where I talk about something that I love to talk about, which is 24. Thank you for watching.